Hi, and welcome to episode 14. So when I first started busking, I was really just looking for a place to perform music for the public. I'd finished school a few years earlier and all of my regular sort of performance opportunities had vanished. I'd started doing some open mic nights and that had been really good, but I wanted to test myself and see if I could go out and make some money for playing music. So when I first started, I was really unsure of whether I was any good at playing music because I'd never really been out there. And as much as I got positive feedback at open mic nights and through school and everything, I thought that was probably, I was probably getting more coddled in those environments. So busking was a really true way to find out whether I was any good. So I wasn't very confident. I was very fragile and I wasn't ready for the negativity that could come from busking. I, lapped up all the positive comments and started to gain a little bit of confidence. But with that did come the people who didn't enjoy my music. And of those people, some of them decided they would talk to me about the reasons why they didn't like my music or what I was doing. And so in my first year or two, there were quite a few instances when it really upset me. And I'd be out busking, someone would say something, and I would break down in tears. I would be packing up and crying a river. It wasn't very glamorous. I'm still not embarrassed by it because that's how I felt at the time. And honestly, we sort of train ourselves to put up these walls and just block all the negativity. But, when you're 20, 21 years old, you haven't got that experience there to do that. And, we shouldn't have to. We should just be able to feel our emotions. But in the same breath, we always grow, and I find now if someone says something negative to me that I don't agree with, I think, well, okay, that's your opinion. My opinion is this, and I don't have to take on board what you're saying if I don't feel it has any worth to it. Like if someone's just going to come up to me and say something mean and walk away, I'm just not going to pay any heed to that. Because it's just going to ruin my day and accomplish what they set out to do. I personally don't feel like that's the way to go about things. I believe in if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Unfortunately, with busking, you have to be prepared for it. As much as a lot of people feel the same way as me, there are those people that just either want to ruin your day or are having a bad day themselves and aren't processing that. And so you're the target. You get that negativity directed towards you. Basically, if you go out busking, you'll likely receive a lot of positive comments and then a few negative comments here and there. And you really need to just focus your energy on those positive comments and just put the negative ones to the side because really, you don't need it. Obviously, if they're saying something that has some legitimacy to it and it is advice, then you're welcome to take on board what anyone says in anything. But I find for me, a lot of the times the negativity that comes towards me, it has nothing to stand on. There's just no worth to it. So I'm not going to put that into my head, as I go over things in my head so many times and it's just very detrimental to my mental health. I actually wrote a song about how I feel, how I am. I haven't released it yet. It didn't make the cut for my last album, but it could end up in the future. But even though I know it's not a hit, it's just something that's special to me because it's very much how I felt. So I like it in that respect.
I've always been the person to listen to what others say. I've never been the tree pushed by the wind that didn't sway. I've always tried my hardest to push it all away. but it gets in, oh it gets in, always.
I think the worst time that I remember when someone said something negative and I ended up in tears, it was probably 2011, 2012. We have a rule in the mall that you can only play for half an hour in one spot and then you have to move and set up somewhere else. And at this time in the past, it was really getting cracked down on. Lots of shops were complaining about loud buskers and buskers staying too long, so there was a real focus there at that time to make sure everyone stuck to the guidelines, because it was unsure whether busking would still be allowed in the mall after all of these complaints had been coming in. So I was really on the ball, keeping to the rules, and it was especially needed in a space we call Gawler Place, because there's lots of offices around there, and they were the ones complaining the most. So on this day, I had performed for 25 minutes. I was doing one more song, and then I was going to pack up and I was going to move somewhere else because I knew how bad this spot was if you went over. So I wasn't going to go over by a minute. Like, that's how scared I was of getting in trouble at the time. So at the 25-minute mark, this guy comes down and starts talking to me. And at first, I'm not sure where he's going with the conversation. But then he basically says, you know, you're only allowed to perform here for 30 minutes. And I went, yep, I performed for 25. I'm just doing one more song. I'm finishing up. And he said, no, you've been here longer than 30 minutes. You've been here longer. You need to pack up. You need to leave. And I knew exactly when I'd started because I monitor these things. And I knew he was wrong. I hadn't been there longer, and I didn't deserve him yelling at me. So I stuck to my guns. I said, no, I haven't been here longer than half an hour. I'm doing one more song and I'm leaving. He then took that as an excuse to say, you're always doing the same stuff. You're never changing. You're always here. Why are you always here? He just went off at me. And, you know, if I'd done the wrong thing, I probably would have been more upset. But I hadn't. I hadn't done the wrong thing. What I play is completely up to me. And I do play different songs. And maybe from the distance that his office is, he could just hear the same style of music. So he had his big, yell at me, wandered off. I couldn't bring myself to play anymore, packed myself up, absolutely crying. Along comes a police officer and starts asking me why I'm upset, and I sort of explain, and it's completely nothing. Someone's just yelled at me. But it hurt. Things like that hurt. And yeah. As a busker, you're such a target for anyone who's having a bad day. Because you're just out there and you're vulnerable. And sometimes you get them and they will come over and you're the one that's being attacked. But you've got to be strong and not take it on board. Because that's them, that's not you. And I remember around that time, I was speaking to another busker about the situation. And he said, basically, if someone's going to go out of their way to come up and speak like that to you, that's totally not on you. It's on them. Just, you got to leave that. You can't take it on board. And I think that probably helped me realize that, hey, it's not always my fault. Some people have other things going on in their lives, and sometimes I'm just where their anger and frustration gets directed. But I do have to say that is one of the downsides of busking, really. Probably should have listed it in my pros and cons video, but it does seem like something that warrants a little bit more talking about. People aren't always going to like your stuff. There are going to be people that don't like it, and you have to expect that you will get some form of negativity every now and then, and you just have to focus on the positive stuff, honestly. The negativity is a very minor part of busking. The majority is lots of positivity, and you're not just going to stop because of these negative comments. That would be letting them win. And I don't know about you, but I don't think it would be worth letting them win. I hope you're enjoying this series. I've been trying to upload a lot more content recently, and I'm actually on day 9 of uploading a video every single day. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep up this pace, but I am hoping to get a minimum of 3 videos out every week. We'll see. I can't make any promises because life gets busy and then I get lulls and I have more time. But, you know, that's my goal at the moment, would be minimum 3 a week. And just while I can do it at the moment, I am trying every single day. So if you haven't already, subscribe, and that way you'll get notified when I upload new videos. But remember to click the bell icon so you get notified every single time I upload, otherwise you may miss some. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.